What is going on, everyone? This is a brand new episode of Stingers of. Yes, it's been a long time. um, but you know what? Things have been going down left and right. It's been very chaotic. We ended up having winter break, and it was tournament after tournament after tournament for girls basketball team. It was a lot of going to family events and not having a lot of time to really do anything. So I do apologize for the lengthy hiatus, but it was necessary because it was just absolutely insane. At least for myself, it ended up being a lot of days out and about, not really at home. And I'm not complaining. It is always fun to be out there with the girls basketball team and try and get them to get better each and every week. And boy, have they been doing that. So let's start off with girls basketball because it has been quite a thrill to watch. So yeah, we ended up having the Golden West tournament, which we ended up going 1-3, I believe, in that maybe it was 1-2, um, in that tournament, and that was a little disheartening because the girls were really playing well, and we actually ended up playing a team in Kingsburg where should have beat them because we had already beaten them before, but we just weren't shooting well and you know not rebounding very well, and so it kind of ended up hurting us in the end. And then what else happened? We were in the Golden West tournament. Then we had the Dinuba tournament, which we faced some really good teams, some extremely good teams. Dinuba girls basketball team is incredibly good. Played Reedley. Um, I'm blanking on the other team that we ended up playing. I want to say it was Roosevelt. But yeah, there was some really, really good, talented teams, and you got to give it up. And I believe we went 1-2 in that tournament. I say I believe, because I actually was going to go, and I missed the last game, the first and last game, because I ended up having some car trouble. So that was a little unfortunate. But then after the Dinuba tournament, we had the Fresno Christian tournament, which the girls did fantastic in. They ended up going 3-0. Then we went to the West Coast Jamboree. Now, these games I unfortunately did not get to go to, but however, I did get to watch some of the film. And watching the film on this, I don't know what it was, but these girls were absolutely inspired. They did not shrink to the moment. The West Coast Jamboree is in the Bay Area, so we're not really facing teams, in the Central Valley. We're facing teams all around California, and it's not a lack of a of these named teams or these top teams. So there's a lot of good talent at this tournament, and West Coast Jamboree accepted Sanger West, and we ended up going 2-1. So that was really, really good for the girls. Absolutely a thrill to watch these girls see some success, not just in the Central Valley. I think that really boosts their confidence because when we came back with a vengeance. I mean, we ended up playing, I believe it was Washington Union, who we did end up winning against. Um, and I'm blanking on the other team we ended up playing, but I know we won that game as well. Then we played Fireball, and we thought we were going to go in there and just, do what we wanted against Fireball. And I think it was kind of a shock. Not us coaches. I'm talking about players specifically. It just kind of seemed like we felt like we were going to be the better team, and we weren't really too worried about it. And I feel like we played down to their level a little bit. And Fireball ended up getting really hot from three, and they were a very gritty team, absolute grit. And we ended up falling short behind Fireball. So shout out to the Fireball girls. They were a really really good team. Very well experienced team. That's another thing that I don't think the girls necessarily put two and two together because Fireball has a really good experienced team. They were really good with their passes. A few mistakes here and there. They actually kind of reminded me of the Singer West girls. So really, really proud of the girls, but unfortunately ended up falling short. So that was kind of a bad omen, at least for us coaches. The way we were thinking was, we kind of wanted to go. That was our last game in the preseason, and now we have season, which or if you want to call it league, the main event, where we're playing teams, that are in our league now until playoffs, and we saw Justin Garza first, and Justin Garza is a really good girls basketball team. They have some really good shooters, some really good passers, and so this was going to be a big test for us. And it's not that we didn't think we were going to win, but because of this skill that this Justin Garza team has, we really wanted to go into it, kind of with that win over Fireball, and so it was we were getting a little nervous, but I got to hand it to the girls. I think they rose to the occasion. I think they felt like they should have beat Fireball, and I think Fireball would say, it was an evenly matched game. So, I don't think that's far fetched to say. And then the girls ended up really doing a great job against Justin Garza. I think we ended up having the lead the whole game, and we just fought and did great defensively. They had some girls who were a lot stronger than we were, so rebounding had to be a focal point, and they really did a good job of getting the rebounds that they needed to get. And I think we ended up still getting out rebound, but I think it was by like maybe 3 or 4. So it wasn't the end all be all. And so I was really proud of the girls for fighting. And so that was kind of the game that we were really worried about right away. Um, and then we ended up, after Justin Garza had to, we ended up playing Madera South, and Madera South is the top team. And so we were 2-0. I'm blanking on who we played just before Madera South. It wasn't Madera. It's gonna bug me that I cannot think of who we played first now. I'm like trying to think of who's all in our league. We have McLean, we have Madera South, we have Madera, we have Justin Garza. And it is gonna bug me. But anyway, we ended up winning that game as well. And so then going into Madera South, we were the only two undefeated teams in our league. Of course, it's only 2-0, but still, that means potentially we are the top two teams in the league. And so going into that game, we had a lot of good momentum, and Madera South had a really good defensive scheme. Really good defensive scheme. We at times it felt like we were suffocated. The pressure I think got to us a little bit. The emotion of that type of a game, that the expectation of that game, I think it really got to us. Like, we had a lot of pressure going on us, and so Madera South had a really good defensive scheme. We also played really well defensively. Madera, they only ended up winning 32-27, so very close, tight game. The girls were in it the whole way. Just when you face a defensive game, every point matters. So you look back and you're like, oh, if we would have made this free throw, or we would have made this layup, or what have you. Of course, you're always going to kind of have a tailspin a little bit. But really, really impressed with with the girls nonetheless. I mean, that was a test, and to me, we passed the test, but now we can make that grade from a C plus to a B minus or to even a B plus, I think. And so we'll see what happens. But we got to face Madera South again. But unfortunately, it's going to be at Madera South, so it's going to be that much harder. But overall, varsity girls doing a great job, playing extremely well. As I'm recording this, they are actually playing Madera High at home. I ended up having class school, so I unfortunately am not able to go to that game. And I'm going to get the score probably when I get home. But man, the girls have been working extremely hard. They've now officially won. Um, God, what's the number? I think they ended up with 9 wins, and I believe we are at 12 wins right now. So we have 3 more wins than we did all of last season. So this year, the girls have taken a giant step forward, and I couldn't be prouder. I mean, these girls have worked so hard. Um, you know, eh, the rest that they've been getting here and there has been, I think, absolutely earned, and I think they're responding well with that rest. And that's one thing that I have noticed that you know sometimes as coaches we forget. We just want to grind, grind, grind. You got to get better each and every week. But sometimes these kids they need a mental break, a physical break. And I feel like they've really responded well with that. Now, we've had a few injuries here and there, very minor things, but that kind of limits us. And so I think they have responded really well and come out. And I think the one thing that I would say about this team that has been so different from this year to last year is, you know, the last game was last game. It's not going to determine what they're going to do this week. Um, are we sometimes inconsistent? Yeah. I mean, most high school teams are going to be pretty inconsistent, but at the same time, this team has grinded really well. When they're at practice, they're grinding hard, and when we give them a day off here or a day off there, um, they take advantage. They rest. They're not doing the extracurricular stuff that you would think maybe these high school girls. I mean, these girls are bought in. I I can't tell you how bought in they are, and um, how much they believe in what they're doing. So really big shout out to all of them, and I wish I would name them all, but I I know myself, and I'm always going to forget one. I'm just going to be like naming them off, and I'm like, oh, I think I said that name, or maybe I didn't, and I'm going to forget someone. So I don't want to make anyone upset. So I'm not going to shout them out by name, but I will say, however, this varsity team has been extremely, extremely good, and I think there is a really good possibility that this team could be in the playoffs. And I don't want to jinx it, but I do think we have a really good possibility if we keep going the way we're going. Now, if all of a sudden we end up losing, I could see us not making it. But these girls have worked so hard; they deserve this playoff. So I'm really hoping. I'm really hoping that that's what will happen. So I just wanted to shout out my freshman team. Um, we have had a grind. So our first game was in December. It was our very first game. Most of these girls' very first basketball game. So pretty intense, but they responded really well. We had a game on January 16th against Liberty High School, who we played in December. So we had seen them before, and we came out, ran the offense really well, defensively struggled, but we worked our absolute butts off, and it was a close game. And I got to give a shout out to my family for coming to the game. My wife, um, my mother-in-law, my mom, and my niece. They all went to the game, watched it. It was good. Like I said, it was a good game. Just we ended up losing, coming up short. But those girls played well. I can't tell you what it was. So but then we had a tournament in in um, in 2 days after that. So it was uh, January 18th that we ended up playing, and two games in a back to back, which was going to be very tough. So we ended up going into the Dinuba Frosh Challenge or tournament, and first of all, it was at Dinuba's brand new stadium arena, I guess gym. Good lord. Um, and God, they did a great job with that. It is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, I actually ended up talking to I believe he was the varsity head coach and for girls basketball. He was sorry, he was the varsity girls basketball coach, and of course they had some, you know, issues here and there. He put it best, growing pains with a brand new gym, and it's the same thing that Sanger West ended up having when it came to getting getting our brand new gym. So yeah, it was nice to talk to him, and just kind of he was giving me some inside info about what they've been doing with the program. Which shout out to the Dinuba just Dinuba basketball program in general. Um, Fantastic. They have done a fantastic job. That girls basketball program is stellar. That excuse me, the boys basketball program is absolutely dominant as well. I actually ended up facing one of their AAU groups, and they were extremely well coached, very, very talented. Cannot tell you how amazing it was to watch them. So, and they worked at that. I mean, that's taken time. So it's not like it's one of those things that all of a sudden it happened overnight where they just got all these kids who bought in. No, it took some time, but they are there now. And this Dinuba team, man, big shout out to them. But that gym was beautiful, and they had said that they just opened it that week. These were the first set of games, so we kind of got to play um, on that basketball court for the first time in a game. So I was really proud of that. And the girls, they played a girls Dinuba Frosh team that was extremely talented, and it didn't go well for us. And we kind of had to, um, we kind of ended up having to, uh, just kind of swallow our pride and just try and work and get better. And that's what we ended up doing. We got better, and then the second game we play Mission Oak, and Mission Oak, we had a great game against them. Ended up only losing by 10 points. We were in the game the whole time. Fourth quarter kind of drug on along a little bit. We struggled to score, but just wanted to shout out those girls. And then of course we played today against Matilda Torres, who another basketball program that is starting to flourish a little bit. We struggled in the first half, couldn't get a point, and then all of a sudden in the second half we started scoring. We started making our plays, and we still lost by quite a bit, but we ended up really salvaging what we could. So shout out to the Frosh girls, and just wanted to give them a big shout out because those girls have been working extremely hard. So second part of this is going to be boys basketball. This is going to be a long episode, so stay tuned. All right, so let's talk about the boys basketball team. They have been on an absolute tear. This team has been, I mean, speaking from personal experience, this team was grinding and grinding and grinding. They have been working extremely, extremely hard. We got a couple of transfers uh, that were coming over from Sanger High School, but they were in district transfer, um, and um, and so they're eligible to play. Excuse me, it's because they ended up just moving. And these boys have been excellent. I mean, these boys have been playing really hard. But unfortunately, right now, going through a real rough patch. They've lost five of their last six matches or games, which is unfortunate. This is a much better team than what they're um, than that. They should have beaten Madera South, and unfortunately, or they ended up beating Madera South, but it took double overtime. That was a really tough game, and then right away, the very next day, they had to go and travel up to Sierra High School, and that's a tough travel. That's a good basketball program, and then on top of that, they just came off of a double overtime game, and so they ended up losing only by 1 point, though. So, I mean, they were in it. It's just, these little things are kind of adding up, unfortunately, for the boys right now. But man, Coach Spielman has definitely got these boys playing excellent. Anthony Pineda, I want to shout him out because he has had the most confidence he's had in his entire basketball career. And I just wish he had this confidence in his shooting that he does this year. I wish he had it last year because it's just one of those things that if he had that confidence last year, just imagine what he would be doing this year. But it goes to show you that basketball is more mental. It's not really, yes, it helps that you have the reps, it helps the experience and all that. But at the end of the day, like the most important thing is you got to shoot with confidence. You have to believe that that ball is going to go in the hoop every time you you put it up. And so, it sounds like a dumb thing, and I can't tell you how many times I've told the boys that, and that I've been telling the girls that. But it is a very real thing. It is something that if you don't believe that that ball is going to go into the hoop, you're not going to. It's not going to go in, because you're already willing it not to. It's like one of those. It's kind of like speaking things into existence. It's kind of that same mentality where you believe that it's going to go in, and it's going to go in. It's speaking it into existence versus if you're not going to speak it into existence, well, it probably won't come true, or you never know. But um, it's more of a gamble when you go that route. And so I just, these boys have. I mean, they have worked extremely hard, and it is very tough when you get two new players. And I haven't personally seen how they play. I've seen some of their practices, and the new guys do look like they can compete, but they haven't worked with this team, and it takes a little bit of time to get that chemistry, and so we'll see what happens. But you know, there's a ton of seniors on this team, and there's a lot of young guys who are playing too, which is crazy. Talking to Coach Spielman, he mentioned that Benji Gutierrez, who's a freshman on the team, he's one of their best practice shooters, and when he gets out in the game, he's still one of their better shooters. But it is kind of a big drop off. But that's one of those inexperienced things that you've never played varsity before. Now you're kind of getting thrown into a varsity game, and so that's hard to handle as a young kid. So they're running into that, and then you have these older guys who are grinders, who have been with the team since day one, and sometimes they're kind of losing out on minutes because these younger guys are coming in and showing a lot of spark and a lot of commitment, and so it's that tug of war. Are you gonna rise to the occasion, or are you going to just crumble up? Because something that I'm big on as well is everyone gets hot, and if you end up getting hot, they're going to keep throwing you into the game. They're going to keep throwing you in. They're going to keep playing you. So, you just have to believe that eventually you're going to catch that fire, and you're going to be running with it. So, but the boys have been absolutely still, even though with the recent losing streak, they have still been um, a really tough team to play. They're not an easy win. I remember 2 years ago we ended up winning two games, and then last year we ended up winning 11, and right now I believe they're at 14 wins, excuse me. So this team went is just growing and growing and growing and growing. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I know sometimes these boys can get discouraged. But let me tell you this Sanger West Hornet basketball team is going to the playoffs first and foremost, and they are going to do some serious damage. They are not going one and done. I still hold a grudge against Santa Maria High School because I really thought that we should have beat them, and in the playoff last year, and we were made a comeback. Unfortunately, it was just a little too late type of a scenario. But yeah, we're gonna be. I know the Hornets are gonna get into the playoffs, and I tell you what, one win, maybe two wins in the playoffs. I think this team could go really far. I really do, and it's not just because I'm here and I'm trying to speak it into existence, ironically. Of course I am, but at the same time, like, I really do fully believe that this is a very talented team. This is the year that the Hornets can really grasp something, and they could really hold on to something. A mixture of a lot of young guys and a mixture of a lot of the day oneers. And man, this is gonna be special. I mean, Farhan Khan has had a phenomenal year so far. He's been the main center, and VJ, as we call him, or Vaishon Turner, he's had to play a lot of the five spot as well, which is not his typical spot. He's usually a 4 or a 3, and sometimes a 1 every now and then. But he's stepped up and played in the role that he needed to play in, and it's been good. I mean, these boys are working extremely hard. They are absolutely doing what they need to do. And it sucks having these losing streaks. It does, but I hope they're not getting discouraged. I hope they understand that there's a bigger picture, you know, that they just got to grind these out. And, Justin Garza is not going to make it easy. Madera High is not going to make it easy. Madera South is not going to make it easy. McLean is not going to make it easy. So these are teams that you have to be aware of. You have to be smart about, and don't get down on yourself. You got to keep going. You got to keep believing that you're going to get these wins. So shout out to the boys basketball team. I know they've been working hard. I could shout out all the boys on that team, but again, I'll probably forget like one or two people. But yeah, I'm very impressed with them, and I love seeing their success. Like I said, last year I was with them, and it killed me to move on. But this is a good situation that I'm in, so I'm gonna run with that for now. But yeah, those boys, they're doing something special over there. So boys and girls Hornet basketball teams, watch out, ladies and gentlemen. I'm being serious here. I'm not saying it because I'm biased. I'm not saying it because I'm close with the basketball program. I'm not saying it because I work at Sanger West. What I'm saying is I see something in this basketball team that I've seen with a lot of special teams before. And I'm not just talking about high school. I'm talking about colleges. I'm talking about NBA teams. There's something about these Hornet teams that, I tell you what, people are going to underestimate us because the last couple of years it hasn't been great. But let me tell you this. The Sanger West Hornet basketball program is here to stay. It is not going anywhere, and it's only going to get better. You better watch out if you're going to face us in the playoffs. All right, guys, that is it for me. Thank you for listening. I'm sorry for the long, long, long hiatus, but I appreciate your support, everyone. Thank you so much. And man, that's it. That's it for me. So Hopefully I will get to talk to you guys next week. Oh, and you know what? I was going to mention real quick. Um, Sanger West girls basketball team played Madera High School here at Sanger West, and we ended up beating them. I believe the final score was 51-29. So the girls are on a roll, man. I'm telling you, these girls and this boys basketball program are not to be messed with. I tell you that right now. Be aware. Trust that. Trust that, okay? All right, guys, that is it for me. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you or you get to hear me next week.